Good morning, everybody. Sorry we're a little late.
This is my fault. Well, not my fault, but my husband. Sorry, keep going.
Nobody's fault. Tara will be here in a few minutes. She's grabbing some coffee.
Oh, there she is. Sorry.
She's right here. Sounds good.
It's okay.
I'm Julie Roginski. I am here with Tara Setmayer and JoJo from Jers and Michelle Kinney. And before we get going, I want to congratulate our friend Joe, who has a massively huge announcement that she actually already announced earlier this week. But in case you missed it, Joe launched a media network, which is phenomenal because it is so desperately needed. Joe, we are so beyond proud of you, rooting for you, love you. Why don't you tell people all about it so that people can tune in, how they can tune in, what it's all about? I think we should spend a few minutes talking about this because it's humongous. You've been at this for like a year trying to say
Yeah.
Thank you. I honestly didn't know that we're going to open with that until
yes, we are.
Second ago, but thank you for that. Hi everybody, happy Saturday. It's a mixed bag this Saturday. We're going to get into all that stuff. Yes, I'm so excited and proud to announce that we have launched what we call the Siren. And it is a media network that is housed on Substack. We have 7 contributors at the moment, and we are growing. But it was born because back in August of last year, I was looking around and I was like, you know what? There isn't a lot of diversity out there on our side. And thank you for that, Michelle. There isn't a lot. We keep seeing the same faces and hearing the same voices. And I felt like a lot of people weren't being seen. And they weren't being heard and they weren't being represented. And this is before the election where I was like, people aren't going to engage as much as we can get them to engage because they're looking around and they're like, that, you know what, that isn't me. That doesn't speak to me. And it also felt like there was a disconnect between real conversations, real people, and real consequences as it pertains to all things political. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like people were like, I don't do politics. And they weren't realizing that politics does them because the conversations weren't happening in a way that like people could actually hold on to and feel in their hearts. And so I said, if this is out there right now, then we have to build something so that it does. And I want also, it's so important to me to like lift all boats truly. I want to encourage everyone out there to work together and to not be so siloed and to have conversations that are real and make people feel seen. That's like super important. So yeah, after a year, and I'm sorry, my brain is not fully online because I have only had 3 sips of my Alani, but after a year of work and conversations and back and forth and all the stuff with my partner, Sam Schwartz, who, if you don't know Sam, guys, he comes out of the gun violence prevention space, which is a tragedy because he lost his cousin Alex in Parkland. And Sam's choice after that was advocacy and activism, just like David Hogg and others. Parkland, it created a firestorm of folks who just work really hard to make this the country that we all want it to be. So Sam was aligned with me in our vision about making a media network that looked more like the people we knew out there in the world, in particular, a lot of women, because there's not, other than Over It and a few other places, there's not a lot of, women-led environments, particularly in the social media and content creation side of the world. So yes, so we launched the Siren. It is on Substack and everywhere, and we have the website, but we have a lineup of shows. And Tara, my dear friend Tara, joined me for the first episode of the Siren podcast, which is the mothership of the website. And we talked just to lift all boats on our first episode about how Donald Trump and Republicans cheat, which inspired me to write an entire Substack essay for the Siren about Seneca Project's brand new fire ad about Donald Trump cheating, which, by the way, friends, is going to be playing where, Tara and Michelle, today?
At Bedminster. It already played twice this morning on Fox and Friends in Bedminster and is running on the Golf Channel all day until midnight tonight several times during the day, specifically at Bedminster. So, and I want to say that
And there's a big tournament today.
Yes. And for us, this is the first time we've been able to put one of our ads on broadcast.
This is amazing.
So,
Amazing.
And that's thanks to all of you guys who are watching and the support of everybody here that was able to help us do that. So thank you for that. But Joe, thank you. We're trying to do our best.
That's your content, Seneca Project's content, guys. I know you all know that. I know everybody here knows that. But like, it's not even close to how it is the best political content that is out there. It's not even close.
Nice.
True. So Joe, tell us quickly, and then we'll move on, but tell us quickly who your contributors are at Siren, so people know who to look for, because it's not just what people know. We're going to continue to do Over It on Wednesdays, and we're going to continue to do Coffee and Conversation every Saturday, but what Joe's doing with the Siren is separate from this. So Joe, why don't you tell folks who you're actually doing this with?
Yeah, so this Over It will still be I'll still be on Wednesdays. I'll still be on Saturdays. This is, again, we're all building together and separately at the same time. And that's how you do it. That's how you make a resistance. That's how you make a movement, right? That's like you can't just put all your eggs in one basket and you can't be siloed. So like all these things overlap. But so I'll still be doing Over It Wednesdays and Saturdays. And I still have my own podcast, which is sane-ish, which sounds insane. Yes. But then on the Siren, we have the Siren podcast, which is a panel show. Yesterday, Tara was on the first one ever, and it was Tara, myself, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, and Harry Dunn having an amazing conversation about how Donald Trump and Republicans cheat. And the ad is the Seneca Project ad is at the end of that episode. And then I wrote about it on Substack at the Siren as well. But it's myself, Sam Schwartz, and Mika Irfan have a show that's sort of geared towards Gen Z, and particular Gen Z dudes, because we have an issue, a lot of ground to make up there. My very dear friend Rachel Vinman is she has a show. Her first show is coming out this week or next week, and it's with a fella you might have heard of named Alexander Vinman. Her show is not just political; it's also about trauma and healing. There's more of a sort of like mental health sort of bent to that one. My former colleague from an organization I won't mention, Jill Jonathan, she has a show that's kind of a deep dive, and that's like more of a 60-minute style show, and it's not also just overtly political, but it's about the world that we want. Joel Rubin, who, if you don't know, he is a dear friend of mine. He comes from the foreign policy side of the world. He worked in the Obama administration, and he's amazing. And he is going to do a foreign policy show. Sarah Beth Rosenberg and Vanessa Branda have a show called Polytoxic. And so that one's geared more towards women again. I think that's everyone. I think I've named everyone. And we have some conversations ongoing with some folks. So we want to grow. And eventually we want to do these things in person, and we want to go out there like they do with the CPAC. And like in my perfect world, in the dream world, we, the four of us, and everything that you are building, Seneca, etc., all of that works in tandem with all these other groups, and we go out there. We go out there into the world just like they do with CPAC and Turning Point, and we actually talk to people and meet people where they are. And elected officials, they come and join, and then we have forums and stuff. So I'm a little ahead of myself, but so that's who's on the Siren, and that's what we're trying to build right
guys
now.
That is so important, and I guarantee you by 2028 this is going to be happening, because the Republicans are so ahead of us in terms of whether it's CPAC, whether it's Turning Point USA, whether it's all of their ancillary other conferences. I mean, they're like revivals. I've been to some of them when I used to work at Fox, and I covered it. Like, they are literally revivals. And it's not that they suck up to the politicians, it's that the politicians suck up to them. And then by them, I don't mean that we expect any politicians to come and kiss our ring. It just means that they need to start listening to us. I was on the phone yesterday. I don't think I even told you guys this because I was so swamped last night. I wasn't really online, but I was on the phone yesterday with somebody who's pretty high up in the Democratic Party. And that person was talking to me about somebody else who's very, very, very high up in the Washington, D.C. Democratic Party. and how that person did not even understand what was happening on Substack.
Are
And-
you
wow.
kidding me?
Oh my
Nope.
God.
And I said,
It's too early on a Saturday for me to be this annoyed.
you know, I come from the establishment wing of the party. I have worked in it for 30 years. Like, I'm not with you guys anymore. For that reason, like, I have completely transformed my viewpoint, which is to say that the people whose energy is driving this party right now are not you guys. It's the people on Substack, it's the people on YouTube, it's the people like Joe who are on all those things, but are also building something huge. And also the three of us, Tara, Michelle, and I, are going to have an announcement also shortly about something that we're doing. So the point is, like, they're so missing the boat on this that I had this conversation and I was like, you know, I was so annoyed, quite honestly. I hung up and I was like, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
But it was just, you know, to the point where I think it's so important to make these people understand. Because I remember I got to Fox in 2004 and sorry, my nose is running. I don't have a Kleenex, but I got to Fox in 2004 when George Bush was running for his second election. And I saw the transformation and I saw the grassroots. And at first it was like, oh, the crazies are taking over the asylum when you had the Tea Party and everybody else taking over the asylum. But to some extent, what they did, although it's completely toxic from my perspective, was
Tea Party was 2008. It wasn't off the rails in 2000 quite yet. Crazy then. It was
gonna beg to differ, but I respect you.
Yeah.
2008, when Obama got elected, then everybody lost their shit.
Well, the Tea Party didn't really get started until after Obama got elected, because I remember when that happened at CNBC, when what's his name went on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and started screaming about how we need a Tea Party. But but we a guy from, and I quote, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is actually talking about how we need a Tea Party. Okay, dude, you're like literally in charge of the economy.
What year was that?
2009, right after Obama
That's
got
what
elected.
I'm saying. Tea Party started around 2008. Like that's
No. It launched after Obama's election.
Oh, I know. Listen, as
yeah.
someone who was actually there and part of it, I can tell you that in 2008, as Obama was running for president, that is when people like the Freedom Caucus folks and all of those people where the Tea Party eventually emerged out of, that's when they were all like they used to play the Soviet Union anthem when talking about Donald Trump, yes, but Obama back then, Rush Limbaugh and all that, it was already percolating up in 2008, and then in 2009, after he won, in 2009 is when they formally formed the Tea Party stuff and they started doing the rallies. I know because I used to go to them and I was there on the ground in places like San Antonio with people I will not name for Tea Party rallies across the country, because it also coincided with my border agent stuff. So trust me.
Yeah.
So
my point is, when that went off the rail real quickly, like, all of a sudden it's the grassroots that took over the party. And again, I would say on the Republican side, it's definitely for ill and not for good. But
for sure.
Some of this needs to be happening on the Democratic side, where it's the people who are telling them what to do and not the other way around. It needs to be a bottom up and not a top down thing.
So I'm going
to blow my nose now because I have.
That's the fight. That's the fight that we're in right now. That's the hardest part. It's like it's this battle to get the establishment to, if they're not gonna change, to get out of the way. Like you're already way behind. The time for
so behind
change was 6 years ago, and they're still doing the same shit after we got wiped out in 24. We lost everything. You guys know, you all know this. They went right back to the same consultants, the same establishment, the same exact people. I don't understand.
It's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable how much money. It's unbelievable how much money those same consultants made.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
I'm talking millions and millions of dollars.
It make you guys sick to your stomach.
Yes.
It does make me sick.
It's more than millions and millions. It's tens of millions of dollars.
Well, yes.
And these are the same people who get up and go out and tell all the rest of us that we're stupid and that we don't belong here. And that's and I say this as someone who has not spent 30 years as a
Yeah.
consultant, like, or,
Yeah.
or in the party as an establishment person, whether it be Republican or Democrat, like Julie and Tara, right? I got
That's
into the game after 2016, after
Me too.
being like, very, an enthusiastic participant, got into it. And when I tell you in the Democratic Party, when I really tried to climb the ranks and I really tried to get in, I was told over and over and over again that I did not belong in so many words. And it was like, you haven't been here long enough. You didn't go to the right school. You don't have the right major. You didn't put out the time. You didn't kiss enough ass on the Upper West Side to be in line to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And so what happened was, and I said this the other night on our show with Tara on Thursday night, I had a friend with the Upper West Side politics named Keith Edwards. That's where I met him. And he was working over at LP, and it was in the middle of COVID, and I couldn't work because I was a photographer at the time. I was working I was a photojournalist, a portrait photographer, trying to get a job at a presidential campaign. And guess what? No one would hire me. And he was like, "We need interns. Do you want to come be an intern?" I was like, "Hell yeah." And that is how all that happened. And that's how I got in over there and worked my ass off to get where I am.
Mhm.
And I say that because so many people in the establishment. This is where Democrats and Republicans are very, very different.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. I was about
Democrats are very
Wait your turn.
wait your
Yes.
turn, go to the right school, and get in line, and maybe we'll let you
sit
in.
with us.
You can't sit with us.
They basically have a big tent, but it's a tiny little door.
Yes,
Yes.
Republicans
Great
don't give a
analogy,
shit.
Joe. Yep.
Republicans don't give a shit.
care.
They
We're
don't
like,
care.
what? You can do
Right.
this. You want
Right.
to work hard. You want to join our team, and
Yep.
you like are dedicated.
Yep.
Come on in, and
Yep.
you can actually run shit. Like
Yep.
they don't care. They just want people who want to win.
Exactly.
And they don't care where you went to school. You don't have to go to school at all. Look at Corey Lewandowski. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy
Look at
is-
Charlie Kirk.
right? He didn't even
Charlie
I don't
Kirk.
think he finished school and like dropped out or something. And like here he is, basically the number 2 at the Department of Homeland Security, ruining people's lives, and ran Donald Trump's campaign and is one of the most powerful people in the president's orbit. I mean, look at the people that he's surrounded by. These are leaders,
Christy
these are
Nolan.
leaders- right?
Can I
Right,
just
exactly. And they don't care.
Can I just actually say something about this? And first of all, Michelle, sorry, Dad, in advance, but they're so fucking stupid because you're creating the best content out there right now.
Of
and
course.
are
And-
not.
well, I and I will say, as much as listen, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say anything, but I will say, like, I spent a lot of years somewhere where I learned a lot. And, yes, it comes from me, the person, and my ideas, but I did learn a lot. And I learned a lot because I was let in the door because I work hard.
By
and,
former
like-
Republicans, because they get it. But I will
Exactly.
also say,
Yeah.
this party's obsession, and I say this as somebody who is ABD, which is all about dissertation. So I actually spent way too long in school. This party's obsession with college degrees
Yeah.
With pedigree.
is so stupid. You know
Yep.
who I want to have a college degree? My doctor, my lawyer.
Yeah.
But do I care in politics whether you have a college degree? No. I know all I care about is if you know how to fight and win. Like
Carville. James Carville is the perfect example of that. I mean, he's past his prime now, but Carville was that guy. He didn't finish college, I don't
Well,
believe.
he did. He went to law school. He's a lawyer.
Oh, did he? I thought he dropped out. Oh, then I
he's a
think
lawyer.
that's-
But that's my point. Like this whole notion, and I worked for a member of the Senate this is like going back, back in the early 2000s. And like you had to go to an Ivy League school, which I did not. I was like the token non-Ivy Leaguer there to go work for him. Like it was just like everybody had an Ivy League degree or something close to it, like a Stanford or a Duke or something like that.
Mhm.
And my attitude is like, but why? Like,
Yeah.
you don't really like. I am a poli-sci major in college. Like nothing I learned in college ever has helped me in my professional career. Like nothing. Like
Yeah.
what did I learn? I learned what the Treaty of Rapallo was.
Right.
Does it matter? Like who gives it?
And that's why I say, like, I went to a conservatory program for musical theater at Syracuse University. Okay. I went to one of the best musical theater programs in the country. That being said, I spent every single elective up at the Maxwell School of Citizenship trying to, weasel my way into poli-sci and history classes and TV and communications classes at Newhouse. It's like all I like, that was always the other thing that was going on in the back of my head. I say that I do more now with my theater degree and my creativity and the things that I learned with that than I do with the, I mean, and I don't think anyone could have predicted that 20 something years ago, but like it just, yeah, Kim Mayer is saying, yes, you need instincts more valuable than a degree in politics. 100%. 100%.
You need instincts and you need authenticity, right? This is the moment that we're in right now. You cannot tell people what they want to absorb. You cannot tell people how they want to be talked to. You cannot talk at them. You have to be yourself, but you have to talk with them and meet people where they are. And that's what the establishment class is just not getting yet.
Because they spent too much time in the ivory towers and not on the streets, in the bakeries and supermarkets and at the diners, Scott Jennings, like normal people. And so experience, it's true, life experience and interacting with people in real communities matters. Not saying there's anything wrong with folks who have amazing Ivy League education.
Yeah, no, that's great.
No, I mean, listen. But
I wish I had one. That'd be cool, like whatever.
It's still one of the honors of my life to have been part of the Harvard program. Like I was like, what am I doing here? Like I'm still in awe of that. But at the same time, I went to George Washington University and it was the best decision I ever made because it gave me a chance to be immersed. It's like when you go to another country and you're in an immersive language program, it's the best way to learn as opposed to sitting in a classroom going through like how to conjugate verbs. That there's a place for that. But what's the best way to learn a new language? You have to be immersed in it. It's the same thing with politics. Like I learned from very early on. And I'm grateful. I didn't get it. Listen, I applied to Duke, UVA, and North Carolina Chapel Hill. All great schools with great political science programs. I didn't get into any of them. And I thought, I'm stupid. I'm never going to have a great, career because I'm not going to have a great school. But,
Isn't it funny how we think that way?
And I'm like, my guidance counselor was like, you know what? You should apply to George Washington University. I'd never even heard of GW. I knew Georgetown, but I didn't know about GW. And then when she showed me the programs at GW and where it was, I was like, oh my God, it's in the middle of DC. This is amazing. I visited. I'm like, oh, I need to go to school here. Best decision I ever made. I got in. It's actually a funny story how I almost didn't get in because my typing up my essay to get it in, it was the last day. I had to finish it and had to be stamped by that day. I'm in the computer lab in my high school. And the computer class was acting up, like they were acting like assholes. And the teacher was like completely pissed off at everybody. And he was like, that's it. And hit the power switch.
Oh my God.
Everybody's computers off. Because I was in there on an off period as a favor to use the computer lab to finish my essay and send it off that day. Mine went off too. I lost my whole essay. Now, back in the day, you used to write things out first and then you type them up, right? We're talking 1993. He felt so bad that he took everybody. He was like, I was like, oh my God, Mr. DiPaolo.
Oh my God.
I lost my college essay. He was like,
oh my God.
I'm so sorry. He's like, look what you guys did. So he took a page and made everybody type up a page and then merged it so that I could get it done. I almost didn't get it. I almost missed it as a whole thing. But anyway, I say that to say that going
Mr. DiPaolo, you're a hero.
Yeah,
but I say all that to say that me not getting into those upper echelon, upper crust schools was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me being in the rolling hills of Durham, North Carolina, or being down and, being in Duke?
God.
No way. I needed to be exactly where I was walking the streets of Washington, D.C., lit dropping, talking to people about the mayoral race and learning local politics. That is where I learned at 18, 19 years old, the importance of relationship in local politics, because I couldn't understand how anybody in Washington, D.C. would vote for Marion Barry again, who had just gotten out of prison for smoking crack with a hooker in a hotel room, and the level of corruption that he went through. Because
bitch put him up, Tara. That's why.
That's right. I know. The city was in shambles. It was in financial shambles. A bunch of agencies were about to get taken over by federal receivership. DC was in a mess that he left it in. And it couldn't, the person who was Sharon Pratt Kelly, who came in after him, could not clean that mess up in 4 years. So here was the next mayoral race. He comes back and people were telling me, oh, I'm voting for Marion Barry. I was like, why? And they said, because you know what? My uncle Jerome, he was, he had a problem with drugs too. And, Marion, listen, it happens, but Marion Barry came to my grandfather's funeral. Marion Barry gave my son a summer job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marion Barry showed up to every fish fry at our church every year for whatever. And right then and there, I fully understood the importance of building relationship in politics. And that has informed me ever since then at 19 years old. And I got that opportunity because I went to school somewhere that immersed me in politics very young. And I'm grateful for that. So I say all that to say that book smarts can get you only but so far. But street smarts, if you give me book smarts versus street smarts, I take street smarts every single day.
Oh, hell yes.
And this is why, Tara, like, why your voice for so long now, right? Like, I mean, again,
it's real.
I've told you guys this so many times, but going back to when I first saw Tara on CNN, we're going back to 2016, I think, right?
Yeah.
So we're going back, and you guys all know this. Tara is one of the biggest reasons that I even thought I could have a voice in this world, but she just spoke the way people talk.
Yeah.
And there was none of this like polish or policy, but it was all on point. You never felt like you were like condescending or that you were talking above us. You were talking the way that we talked, but to these very, erudite like politicians and politicals and pundits. And the reason you're still killing it out there, and Julie too, on TV all the time, is because you guys talk in a real way.
People, yes.
Like normal
and it's
people.
that relationship building because people trust what you're saying because it sounds like the kind of stuff they would be saying too.
Also because we're from Jersey and we're like, Jersey people, we have a certain edge about us that isn't pretentious unless you went to Princeton.
Well, and
I grew up in Princeton, so I'm kind of.
You grew up down there, but you also
I didn't
have
go
a
there.
real background, but you come from real, like what your family went through in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
It humbles you in a way that the Ivy Leaguers, a lot of them, not all of them, because I have to say my students at Harvard were amazing kids, and they came from very humble backgrounds, and they were all fucking amazing, and I love them. So, but like, so it's not all, they're not all pretentious pricks up there, but like, if there's something that humbles you about that, because it's real world life, real life experience. I grew up, my mom was a single parent, had me at 21. We real world. And that translates. And then having the opportunity to be immersed in politics and work in politics and work in policy. Like, listen, I focused on political science with a public policy minor. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to have both the street knowledge of just how I grew up, but also policy knowledge. And that's a combination that some of the more pretentious pricks like Scott Jennings and others don't have because it's not real for them. It's a performance.
Scott Jennings isn't even pretentious. Scott Jennings is just thirsty. Like Scott Jennings is
shameless. Thirsty and
like,
shameless.
You know what he is? He's like a pick-me guy. Like all Scott Jennings
and
wants
his haircut is awful.
I mean, I'm not going to make fun of anybody's appearance, but I will say that he's just a pick-me guy. Like Scott Jennings just wants to be picked. He wanted to be picked by George Bush, which is why he went along with that whole stupid trying to get rid of all the U.S. attorneys. Remember that whole Karl Rove scam?
Oh, I remember.
He had to go testify about that. And then he became a McConnell guy. So he went along with the establishment wing of the party. And then when it looked like Trump was on the outs, he and McConnell had some Chick-fil-A in Louisville right after January.
Right.
Said, oh, no, we're done. And he went on CNN and he said, I'm done with Donald Trump.
I remember.
And then all of a sudden, I remember leading up to the election, I was on with Scott Jennings every day at CNN, and he could not have been sucking up more in the off chance that Kamala was going to win. And then Kamala lost, and all of a sudden Scott Jennings had yet another personality transplant, where all of a sudden Scott Jennings is all about Trump. And it sounds like not just about advancing Trump's policies, not just advancing Trump's politics, but also sounding like Trump, where he's calling people liars. I don't know.
Again, like shameless.
If I'm on a show with him and he doesn't call me a liar at least once, I know that it's not a show, right? Like it's just like something that's just like
unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable, the transformation, and it's all just so performative.
He's like, and this is the thing where I'm like, who are you? And to the appearance part, he chooses his haircut. Okay, so I will make fun of the haircut because that is a choice. That is not what he was born with.
Right.
But I just on the elitism part of this too. Like, I want to remind people, Hakeem Jeffries, Speaker of the House, went to SUNY Binghamton, and so did Eugene Vindman. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember reading, and I God help me, I can't remember what book it was. There was an excerpt about, you know, the Obama world and Biden worlds doing this. And a lot of this had to do with Joe Biden's background, growing up in Scranton, PA, being just kind of like a little more rough around the edges guy, like somebody that the four of us can relate to. Okay. At least, you know, so, and there was a thing about that, like about how David Axelrod and David Plouffe didn't like Joe Biden, and they didn't think he was smart enough, and they didn't think that he was, you know, controlled enough. And there was a line about how he went to a shitty law school. He went to Syracuse University Law School, and so did Bo, by the way. And it was about pedigree, because he didn't go to an Ivy League school, and he didn't go to an Ivy League this, and he didn't come from this, and he wasn't, you know, like with his silver spoon up his ass kind of shit. And like, and this is the stuff about Joe Biden that, and Joe, I know how much you love him, and you know, and Tara too, and Julie, like we all love Joe Biden. And there's a reason why he won the primary. There's a reason why he resonates with the American people in a way, even if he was old and even if he was this, because people relate to him, because he reminds people of who they are and where we come from.
Because he
in a
governed
way.
from the gut.
Yes.
He governed from the gut. And he wore it on his sleeve, and people appreciate that. Just do. And you know, and that's why Trump. That's why for Trump, people like him. I mean, we know that it's bullshit, but he is who he is, though. Like, that's always been. He is who he is, and people, they relate to that. For, you know, well, there'll be volumes written as to why, but like, that's part of his
guy. He speaks like they speak, and here's the difference. Listen,
it's all bullshit.
I have been
who they hate, which is awesome.
That's a big one.
I have been in rooms with Obama at the head of his career, and I've been in rooms with Biden at the head of his career. And I will tell you right now, that is not even a close contest as to who the better.
I am so surprised by this.
Like, I cannot even begin to tell you what a better politician Joe Biden is than Barack Obama. Barack Obama can inspire a crowd.
Right.
You can speak from the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin and have all of Europe go swooning.
Yeah.
A lot of that is because he's erudite, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's the first African American president, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he, you know, listen, he talks a good game, but on a human level, Barack Obama is Mr. Spock. Like, he's not a one guy. Joe Biden, you know, let me just give you something.
Biden is what's his name?
Joe Biden
is the other one, the Captain Kirk.
Joe Biden,
gritty and with the heart, you know what I'm saying? Gritty, making decisions from his gut, taking risks and all of that. And Obama was Spock. It's just that
charming the ladies. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, my a senator named Frank Lautenberg, who I used to be very, very, very close to, like inordinately just love him. He passed away, but I was very close to Senator Lautenberg from New Jersey, actually. And Senator Lautenberg died when Biden was vice president, and Biden gave the eulogy. And I got to tell you guys, you've never seen anybody shine the way Joe. I hate to say this personal pain, and because what he himself. This is before Bo died. This is just when his, you know, not just, but this is after he'd suffered the loss of his wife and daughter, obviously, but before Bo died. Just the human empathy of how he spoke to everybody at that funeral, and how he, like, Obama could never have done that. No. Ever.
Joe's a professional eulogist.
He
had to give it. I mean, because of that.
And y'all, he is Irish. He is Irish in his bones in a way that I understand. And
and think about what we're missing now as a country, right? Like, it feels rudderless.
Yes.
Because we often have talked, and I'm a sentimentalist about some things, about speeches in particular. I get a lot of shit because I loved some of Reagan's speeches. Like I cut
You're
my
not alone. You're not
right.
alone.
Like I mean, I really did.
A Reagan speech inspired our very first Time for Choosing ad that we debuted.
Listen, a great communicator,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it there.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree with you, Michelle.
his speech in the wake of the Challenger explosion, like as a
Yes.
kid, a lot of us watched that happen. Our entire school was in the library watching that because one of our teachers made it to one of the final rounds, and she didn't end up on the space
That's so
shuttle.
funny. One of my teachers did too. I was very little, but like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was in 5th grade, and our entire school, which was a very small school, in a rural part of New Jersey, was in the library watching it, and
they rolled it in for us.
Yes,
you remember how they still rolled?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
AV president, AV club president, y'all.
Oh,
Like
there you
I
go.
was the wheeler.
Well,
I was
we're
the
gonna have
wheeler.
we're gonna make fun of you later for that, but go
Oh
ahead.
my God.
Yeah. So, but that speech was what the country needed in that moment. It was the kind of catharsis and consoler in chief moment. Even George W. Bush, guys, the Yankee game
after 9/11.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Listen, I still get choked up watching that.
When he was there on the ruins of 9/11,
he meant
they'll
it.
hear from all of us soon.
He meant it.
Still gives me too right now just thinking about it.
And it matters. It matters, and it sets the tone for so much that we have lost now because. Well, it sets the tone because also you see what's happening now with someone as depraved as Donald Trump at the head. We not only don't have a consoler in chief in moments of crises like the floods in Texas or like the murders in Minnesota. He's worse than this not having someone. What we have instead is someone who doesn't care, someone who revels in chaos and dysfunction.
And he wishes pedophiles well.
Right. And stokes division and hatred and xenophobia and fear. And it's worse than not having someone who can console us. We have someone who emboldens the worst in us, who encourages the darkness. And that permeates a society to the point where you can see people don't care when other people are harmed, or they cheer for it. Look, I got cheered for this too. People out there, hey, yeah, they shot a CEO. This is awesome. Good for us. We win. Like that shit permeates and from the top down. And we don't need to have the best eulogist in the world at the helm, but we need to have someone who encourages our better angels as opposed to stoking and emboldening our worst demons. Like this is a big problem.
But let me also I was doing my Pax Americana show with Ogle Outman. Some of you might watch it on Thursday. And she said something very interesting. She said, we're talking about democracy here in the country. And I have a Substack coming out on this tomorrow because actually what she said really triggered something in me. Where she said, when democracy was failing under Putin, when he was really clamping down in ways very similar to what Trump is doing right now, taking over the courts and trying to subvert the Constitution and all the same stuff that's happening now. You had mass protests in the street. Actually, Alexei Navalny, where he came up, he was the leader of those protests, and that's really where he became very famous. Where is that now? I mean, we have the No Kings protest, but it's not every day. It's not out there. People are kind of just letting it happen.
Enough. Nobody even says No Kings anymore.
Yeah.
I was saying this all the other days. Like, what happened to that?
What I was thinking about, as I said, I have a Substack coming out on this tomorrow, but we are the greatest generation. Or we have the ability to, because the greatest generation in the World War II era went abroad to fight fascism. We are called upon to fight fascism here at home.
Yeah,
we should be the greatest generation. We should be the one that the next Tom Brokaw should be writing about.
Right.
And yet,
I love this.
And yet, nobody is out there behaving like that. Nobody is meeting the challenge. Nobody is being inspired.
It's the would-be greatest generation.
Right. But nobody is inspiring us on our side to go out there in a way that we were inspired by Roosevelt and by others during World War II to do that. And to Joe's original point, and I want to bring this back to the Siren because I think it's so important, and by what you guys do with Seneca and by what all of us do and everybody on this chat does, because I know you all care so much about this. we can't wait for anybody to inspire us because these leaders are non-existent in the same way they weren't in Russia. Alexei Navalny was just a guy. He was just a rando. And he came up and he became the leader of this movement. And it didn't work out well for him, but it did because his legacy is so tremendous and he continues to inspire what little protests are still left there. And one day, his side will win. I firmly believe that, and Putin will be gone. So where is our Alexei Navalny? It has to be all of us, right?
We are.
Yeah. Because it's not Chuck Schumer and it's not Hakeem Jeffries. It's nobody. It's we're building the Siren.
Us. It's us. It's right. It's the we. It's the people on this chat. It's us. It's the resistance that we were talking about on Joe's Siren podcast last night. I was using cheesy pop culture references as a Gen Xer, but it didn't matter. I used Superman, I used Marvel, I used Star Wars, all as examples of where and who built the resistance. It wasn't just military folks and the top leaders. There's a place for everyone in the resistance because when your way of life is under threat, it impacts everyone. The resistance is everyone from doctors and lawyers picking up arms, proverbially or literally, depending, down to the stable boys in the country. Like everybody has a shared desire to save or protect or fight back against the things that matter to them most. And for us, we're doing the same thing. Everybody has a role. Not everybody's a general. And not everybody, somebody has to be the logistics person. Somebody has to be the one that, that shines the ammunition. Somebody has to be the person that, comes up with the, with the plans. Like there's roles for everyone. Not everybody's a general, and that's okay. And so that's how you build a resistance. And I often say that we cannot, we and in speeches I've given this year, I always say somewhere in there that we cannot be the generation that loses democracy. Do we want to be that generation?
How embarrassing.
Now, because nobody, I don't want to be like, we need a tea party. I don't want to be the guy in the mercantile exchange. I kind of am saying that because where is everybody?
Yes.
Where is everybody? I mean, we're watching this happen every single day. I open up the new, I'm scared to wake up in the morning because I'm scared to see what new outrage is happening on the front page of my newspaper.
Yeah, I know.
And that's their strategy. That's the strategy.
Right?
To exhaust us and numb us.
And the problem is we are exhausted and we are numbed because people are like, oh, okay, this sucks. I don't approve of what Trump is
just
doing.
how things are now.
But it's just the way it is.
We got to wait till midterms. We'll wait till February.
There are no midterms. My friend, listen, here's what's happening. Let's be very clear. He is in charge of the Census Bureau, which means that they're not counting the people they should be counting in blue states. Let's just be very clear about that. Blue states will lose in a 2020 and 2030 census. So in 10 years, there will be just so you know, there'll be a permanent Republican House majority, just so you know, because of what he's doing with the census. I don't know how to fix that other than to bring attention to it. But nobody's even talking about it because it's so obscure. I just know that I worked on redistricting so many decades that I know how this stuff works.
That's why they're doing it now.
If you're worried about what's happening in Texas, it's going to be nothing compared to what's going to happen because New York, California, New Jersey, Illinois, other big Democratic states that have the population, their population just won't be counted.
Yep.
They will just say that they've lost more population than they really have lost. And you won't be able to prove it because, it sounds like a lot of people are moving down to Florida. So I guess that must be right. No, they're not going to count on documents. They're not going to count on documents. Yeah, they're cooking the books, just so you know. It's happening now.
About everything. About everything.
And for it. That's why him firing the BLS commissioner and getting rid of the IRS commissioner and doing all this stuff and saying, it's fake, it's political. It's all priming the people for what he's doing to not trust any institutional numbers or statistics where these used to be non-political career positions.
Yeah. And he's putting people like Big Balls, who's actually Little Balls because he's got a background by a bunch of teenagers, but he's putting in all these Doge people. Like Doge is gone, but those people are still embedded.
That is correct.
And
making a shit ton of money.
That's who's running.
And Palantir.
It's like a cancer, right? And it spreads and
the Heritage Foundation.
Yes, and you die. Like that's what happens.
Yeah.
And you've got little Marco, who is secretary of I don't know what the hell, because you've got Steve
Everything,
Witkoff.
secretary of everything.
Well, but the problem is I don't know what Marco Rubio does, because the two biggest problems right now, one, the Russia-Ukraine war, the other, obviously, what's happening in Gaza.
It's Witkoff.
It's Witkoff, who, by
Yeah.
the way, the reason he's not a government official is he doesn't have to keep records. So he
That's
goes,
right.
he goes and meets with Vladimir Putin. Remember, a week ago, you had Trump saying, yeah, we're going to, we're not even going to wait 50 days. We're going to put sanctions on Russia because of what's happening in Ukraine. I'm outraged. All of a sudden, Witkoff goes to Moscow. And then all of a sudden today or last night, we come to find out that Vladimir Putin, a wanted genocidal Adolf, I don't make Hitler analogies lightly. He is Adolf Hitler, my friends. What he is doing in Ukraine is a genocide. It is, they're stealing children.
Yeah.
They're sending them to Russia for re-education. They are
don't talk about that enough.
War Ukrainians and making them fight on the Russian front lines against their own country.
It's crazy.
All of that is illegal. And we are very focused on what's happening in Gaza, rightly so, because that's an outrage also, but we're not focused on what's happening over there. And then all of a sudden you have an announcement last night or today.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin is coming to American soil to meet with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's where they're going to do it?
Yes.
Alaska. In
Alaska.
Alaska. Which
Yesterday,
And by the time
yesterday was the deadline. Tacoed again. Yesterday was the deadline. And what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened because Putin has him by his teeny, tiny, weeny, little mushroom stool. That's and he's pulling him around. Yes, he's going to be on our soil.
Oh my
Meanwhile,
God.
ever since the guy who said that he was going to end this war on day one, that Russia's been bombing the ever-loving fuck out of Ukraine. They have. I'm under attack. Sorry, it was a cicada. It's a deep state. They sent a cicada to get me.
Wait, they're in the bees. I thought that it's the bees, right? X-Files. It's the bees.
Yeah.
Yes,
Birds aren't real.
Yeah, the bombing has increased like a bazillion fold since Trump took
Listen,
office.
Donald Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David, guys.
That's true.
Like,
good point.
That's a great point.
Somebody had to put the kibosh on that.
But
right.
I don't know if people picked up on this, but this is when everything changed. He said he was going to give Russia 50 days, and then he's like, "Screw that! I'm going to give them like 10 days." Remember, he decided to put his dick on the table. Sorry, Dad. But then, actually, that probably offends my dad more than the F word. But I'm really
no worries. But couldn't get it there. It's not.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
nobody could see it if it was
low enough. But anyway, But what happened was Dmitry Medvedev, who's the former Russian president, who now is like Putin's troll, went out and said, I don't know why Trump thinks that Mossad is the only one that's got everything on him with Epstein. We've got all that information too. Ha, ha, ha. When has said that on social media? Boom. Boom. Guess who's in Alaska? Guess who was invited to Alaska? By the time Putin's done with him, we're probably going to give Alaska back to the Russians. Like,
well, that's what the first thing that went through my mind. I was like, no one should be laughing about this. Vladimir Putin wants Alaska.
Yeah, I know.
Don't be surprised if Donald Trump floats this, and then
wouldn't that be apropos?
Lisa Murkowski, how do you feel now?
You remember when he said many people don't realize how close Alaska is to Russia?
Yes.
He actually said.
Even Sarah Palin realizes.
Right, I was like, that's not Sarah Palin.
And by the way, and since we're on this now, really quickly, like, and I know it's whatever, but things we're not talking about related to Maxwell and Epstein. Where the fuck is the media on the fact that she was moved? I know we've talked about it. You guys know she has private security there now. Yep. So they moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a club-fed minimum security. They don't even have a real fence, guys. It's like a chain link.
Oh,
fence.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you and Tara knows all
Todd
that.
Blanche. Yeah, Todd Blanche goes and meets with her, and they have a little private conversation. And then whatever she said to him, all of a sudden she gets moved to this place. And by the way, if people don't know this, she wanted to enroll into this prison program where she can help with like seeing eye dogs and stuff. Yes. And they will not allow her near the animals because they do not allow violent criminals or sexual violence criminals near animals.
Because she's too cruel. She's too cruel to handle a dog.
That's right.
She's in this, and because they have so much access to all these inmates, because Epstein was Epsteined or whatever. Because of that, now at this camp, she has her own security.
But
She
you know
has
what?
security.
You want me to give you the conspiracy theory view of
Wait.
this? That they might want her there because
Yeah.
there is such little security that she might meet an uncomfortable end.
This is just the fact that we're even here to
Talking about
contemplate
this.
that is.
But like, this is the world we live in.
I
Where's
know.
the
This
media
is the
on
world.
this? Where is the mainstream media? Why
Where
aren't
is
they
the mainstream
asking him-
media on everything?
I know, but
Everything.
Donald Trump will say, "I didn't know about this," and then ask him why. How?
Right.
How
That's
don't
what
you know?
You see how easy it is to do that. If you want to, like, don't let them get away with it. I did that on Wednesday with the Trumper guy that tried to say he didn't know enough about the Confederate statue that Pete Hegseth decided to put back into Arlington Cemetery. And I said, "Oh, well, I will educate you about it. I'll tell you about it."
Yeah.
And by the time I was done with him, he wanted to crawl under this desk. and CNN, to their credit, at least had a photo of the statue that I was describing, so that he could not run away from it anymore. That's what the media should be doing. And you know what? I will give credit to Erin Burnett, because she has been doggedly on the Epstein stuff, and on the survivors' families, and like really like and showing legitimate outrage about this whole thing. So I will give credit to Erin Burnett's show for the way that they've been covering this, but she's one of the few.
Erin Burnett, I will give her credit. Erin Burnett has been covering Epstein. She's been covering Russia in ways that nobody else has been.
Yeah,
she's a serious person. Erin Burnett is a serious person.
Yeah.
Unlike Jake Tapper.
Well, I want to, just because, for a shameless plug, give the audience an opportunity to see Cheater, because it is running, and it's only running very specifically right now in the Bedminster market. Joe can get it.
My market. Yep.
Yeah. So if you put on the golf channel in the background, Joe, let us know if you see it.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, but because we want to, it's not just going to be here. We want to be able to troll Trump with this, not only there, but other places, and not only just troll Trump, but to expose other people to the fact that he is a cheater. It's not just about pissing him off, because it will, but it's about other people seeing and being reminded, because we're inundated with so much shit that we need to constantly be reminded very simply what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, and that the American people are tired of it. Because guess what? He's coming after you too, to cheat you too, all of us. And we shouldn't be okay with that. We shouldn't be numb to that. So we're hoping, as we're able to raise more money to do it, that we're able to scale this up. This one and the Big Beautiful Betrayal.
Yeah, we are pledging, if assuming that we have the resources, to place this in every county, every district where JD Vance and Donald Trump are going to sell their bullshit bill to the American people that is going to destroy lives for decades to come.
Yep.
So,
Michelle, I think you have it, right?
Yep.
Okay,
I'll play it.
Donald Trump is a cheater.
He cheats.
He cheats at golf.
He cheats like a mafia accountant.
He cheats on his wives.
On every wife he ever had.
He tries to cheat elections.
11,780 votes.
He cheats working people.
Small business people say they were stiff.
He cheats his supporters.
He scanned to line his pockets.
Guess who he's cheating next? Look in the mirror. It's you.
Michelle, is that your voice?
Yeah.
Love it. I love
Michelle's in the last couple, I think, right?
Yeah, she did Big Beautiful Betrayal also.
Great ad.
It's
Fantastic.
Fantastic. And I wrote a whole Substack about it on the Siren. Go watch it. Read it.
By the way, that's the first ad that's had both Michelle's voice.
Yeah, I went into the archives. I went into the archives, and I found a clip of Tara saying this from 2022 on Jonathan Capehart show.
Oh my God.
I had no idea. I listened to it like 10 times and didn't even realize it was me.
I was like, oh, did you like that we found that?
Yeah. Loved it.
So a whole bunch of firsts today.
Okay, so we have to run soon. So Michelle, let's talk about JD Vance, because
I need to talk about JD Vance. I have to talk about this. I can't wait till Wednesday. Okay, so really quick. Okay, you all know how I feel about JD Vance, or like how all of us feel about JD Vance, is that I think that he's a fraud and a phony. I don't think anyone knows who he is. I don't think that he knows who he is. And I have made comparisons to the talented Mr. Ripley, because I think he's a shapeshifter and he just kind of does whatever he needs to. And that's why we see this history of him saying kind of more moderate things when he was trying to sell his book to liberals, and then he shapeshifted into this other creature of the right. Now, first of all, I don't know if you guys know this. I know you guys do, but everybody at home, I just want to pull this up. In just over 6 months, JD Vance has vacationed with his family as vice president to the following: a ski resort in Vermont, Greenland, the Vatican in Italy, India, Disneyland in California, Cotswolds and Scotland in the UK, Ohio on his birthday. This is for his birthday, guys, to go kayaking, where he used more tax dollars and had the Army engineers raise the river to, quote, improve kayaking conditions. Now, he wasn't going kayaking for like an official duty. He was going for his birthday. And who has paid for all of this? The United States government. And just so people know, here it is. It has been widely reported. JD Vance's team had water level of Ohio River raised for family's boating trip. Exclusive incident raises question of exploitation of public services, but Secret Service says it was requested for safe navigation. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Wow.
So,
well, time out. Just to be clear, that is true. However, the fact that the Secret Service had to do that is the outrage. Like, they
it
had
is
to raise the
insane.
river, right? They had to raise the river because their boats that they needed to follow him were running aground, according to that article. They were running aground when they did their scouting, their like advance. So they said, all right, we got to raise the river. It's happened in the past. But the fact that they knew that this was what was required for him to go on a fucking boating trip with his family on his birthday.
Right. And there's nothing else he could have done for his birthday. He couldn't have gone like go-karting or something. He had to do this.
Lap dancing. Like
tap dancing, salsa lessons, whatever. So this is the thing that and here's the thing, and I know we all got it, so I'm trying to rush through this. Okay, so JD Vance, I think that he is a freeloader, guys. I think he's lazy, and I think he's a freeloader. And this is why I'm asking the question, because I'm just asking questions. Is he a lazy freeloader? I don't know. You be the judge.
I've heard that his schedule doesn't start until like 10 o'clock.
This is what I'm saying. So I will show you. Where is this article? Okay. NBC News, Fox News, MAGA hats and cookies inside Trump's West Wing. Okay. This was reported. I don't even know when. It doesn't matter. It was during the last 6 months. NBC News spoke to more than a dozen past and current administration officials, lawmakers, and Trump allies about the West Wing's rhythms. What's noteworthy in the informality, they said. One former national security official said they were struck by how often they'd run into Vice President JD Vance standing outside the Oval Office near the Keurig coffee maker, drinking a cup or eating one of the cookies on offer. Vance's office declined to comment, of course. So I say all that to say, now I'll try to fast forward through some of this because I know we're running out of time.
He's the cookie man.
So this aired. Now Rachel Maddow drives me a little bonkers, but to give her credit, this aired last summer during the Republican National Convention. And she is one of the only people I have ever heard talk about this and connect the dots. So I just want to play some of this because I think it's really, really important that we all do this too. And we continue to beat the drum because there's a good chance we have a very unhealthy man in the White House, in the Oval Office. And if something happens to him, this is the person who is going to be president of the United States.
Public figure.
Damn it.
Is best known for having written a well-received autobiography, which he started while he was at Yale Law School. Mr. Vance also served for 6 months in Iraq as a public affairs unit officer in the Marine Corps. Served in a public affairs unit in the Marine Corps. After he did his law degree, again at Yale, he became a protege of a very right-wing billionaire who you might remember from the first Republican National Convention that nominated Donald Trump for president. He had a primetime speaking slot. It was one of the weirder speeches of the 2016 RNC. His name is Peter Thiel. He got JD Vance a job at a biotech company in San Francisco after JD Vance graduated from law school. Peter Thiel got him that job, literally. The company's CEO says explicitly that JD Vance was hired, quote, as a favor to Peter. meaning as a favor to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel then got JD Vance a second job. He directed one of his venture capital companies that they too should hire JD Vance. After Mr. Vance washed out of the second job that Peter Thiel gave him, Mr. Vance then got another job at a different venture capital firm with another tech billionaire, with Steve Case, who founded AOL. How did that one work out? Mr. Case is on the record saying, quote, "He wasn't really working very much." Nevertheless, Mr. Vance then was able to go and start another venture capital firm with, surprise, yet more help from Peter Thiel. Like Mr. Thiel, who has named his companies after things in the Lord of the Rings series of J.R.R. Tolkien books. Lord of the Rings is a sort of favorite cosmos for naming things and cultural references for a lot of far-right and alt-right figures, both in Europe and the United States. Peter Thiel names all these things after Tolkien figures and places, like his company Palantir, for example. Like his mentor, like Peter Thiel, who had given him all his jobs in the world, Mr. Vance also, when he founded his own venture capital firm with help from Peter Thiel, named it after a Lord of the Rings thing. He called it Narya, Narya, which you can remember because it's Aryan, but you move the end to the front.
Yeah, I wanted to play that because that's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy.
Apparently that word has something to do with elves and rings from the Lord of the Rings series.
Or whiteness.
I don't know. In his new firm, Mr. Vance made one notable investment in one Kentucky company. That Kentucky company went public and then promptly went bankrupt. So that's the career. Does that sound like the rocket fuel trajectory of a person on a fast track to be nominated as the vice presidential nominee of the Republican Party of the United States before he turns 40? No, it does not. Writing a memoir and otherwise being Peter Thiel's intern is not usually the way you get to be a vice presidential nominee. It's not usually the way you get to be a United States senator either.
And this part, too, is... Yeah.
But it is the way you get to be a U.S. senator if you're JD Vance. JD Vance's campaign for the U.S. Senate was the first time he ever ran for anything. His campaign was substantially, emphasis on substantially, funded by Peter Thiel, who dumped $15 million into a super PAC that supported J.D. Vance's run for Senate. That super PAC then further effectively took over the operation of the campaign and ran most of it for Mr. Vance. And after Peter Thiel personally took J.D. Vance to meet Donald Trump, literally, Peter Thiel physically walked him into the meeting and presented him to Trump. That is how Vance got the Trump endorsement for that U.S. Senate seat. That's how he won the Republican primary. He then vastly underperformed other Ohio Republican candidates on the general election ballot in 2022, but he did win, which is how he got into the United States Senate a grand total of a year and a half ago. And that's how he got to be the vice presidential nominee of the Republican Party.
Yeah. So I wanted to play that because... And I cut as much of the editorial and like Rachel Maddowing out of it as I possibly could. But like, this is very important because JD Vance, people are saying, is a lazy freeloader. He does not, people are saying, he does not work hard. He talks real nice. He talks real nice. And this is how he gets away with it because he sounds, he sounds very smart when he says things. He has a history, and by the way, his ideological guru, Curtis Yarvin, is tweeting things like this.
Yep.
No, we have one problem. The problem is our billionaires are N-words. They may be rich, but they're N-word rich. The nature and function of their wealth is profoundly, you know what, I'm not even gonna. So
yeah, I talked about this with Malcolm Nance
I don't even understand
on the podcast.
What is he getting at with that?
He's just racist,
I
and
a whole
I mean,
conversation about what that means, but that's a different show.
And he talks like that all the time, and JD Vance has talked openly. And by the way, Curtis Yarvin is around the White House. He is the ideological guru of Peter Thiel. Like this, these are the people who are running the country. We see Donald Trump up here. But like, if something is to happen to him, JD Vance will be president of the United States. There's a and by the way, Steve Bannon has talked openly now because he hates JD Vance so much that he's going to run in 2028.
Yeah.
So So I say all this because I think it's important that people understand where JD Vance came from, and then that they go back and they look at this. And he has been freeloading off of rich people and now the American public. He has never had a real job. He's never done anything to earn where he is. He has had rich daddies paving the way for him.
More like zaddies, but yes.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Because
just
he
saying,
never had a real one. Because he never had a real one.
That's
So
correct. That
we're
is
the-
correct.
We're
That's
the mercy
correct.
of very broken fucking
He's
people.
Commander Nick Blaine.
But I think the problem for somebody like him is that he feels like because of everything he went through as a child,
He's entitled to it.
He's owed it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We
the
owe
rest
it.
of us,
We owe it
the
to
rest
him.
of us work. The rest of us work to deal with our own traumas and our own, pain, and we try to heal and pay it forward. No, not them, not those two.
And so while JD Vance is on these vacations, and by the way, they're not going to stop, and it's only August, he's going to continue to do these things. And while Donald Trump renovates the ballroom and he has parties for all of the richest people in the country and in the world, and they're sitting around drinking champagne and laughing at you. They're laughing at all of us. While MAGA sits there with their houses in foreclosure and going bankrupt and they have to take their parents out of nursing homes because they've been kicked out because their Medicaid has been and Medicare has been taken away and Social Security has been taken away and all the safety nets and all the things and raising prices and they've deported every single immigrant. So they've got your children out in the fields picking lettuce because that's going to happen, guys. I say all this because
you're teeing up that amazing, unbelievably brilliant AI video that's going on.
I didn't because I didn't know if you guys would want to see it.
Because this is exactly what that AI video is.
Yeah, I retweeted it on my Twitter at Michelle Kenny if you want to go see it.
It's on mine too. I retweeted it too.
All of us have reposted this. It's going around. It's gotten viral. There is an unbelievably brilliant AI video that basically depicts what Michelle is talking about. And Michelle has been talking about the pitchfork thing for a while. And I've been talking about American carnage and how we need to figure out a way to combine these things to warn people that the American carnage is actually coming from Donald Trump. Yep. Stay tuned for that. We're still working through that. Mm-hmm. But the idea that Donald Trump and the Peter Thiels and the crypto bros and the billionaires and the oligarchs, American oligarchs, and all these people who are really the PayPal mafia guys, Elon Musk, all of these guys that are really controlling the purse strings here, that they're laughing at the average American. That's why in all of our ads, we keep emphasizing the betrayal and the cheating, because he's not only doing it to his MAGA base, he's coming for all of us. Mm-hmm. And so that's what that is. And it ends up, that AI video, the ending of that AI video with the people showing up with their pitchforks, going after the American elite of Donald Trump in the ballroom of the opulent bullshit ballroom that they build. And what happens at the end of that is unbelievably chilling and very real.
Yep.
And that's where
the ballroom that he's building, because he doesn't plan on going anywhere. So I don't know if you guys saw it, if he survives anyway, because he's very, very ill from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But he told the president of Azerbaijan that everybody wants him to run again in 28. You don't build a ballroom that's not going to be done until you're out of office, unless you're planning on staying in.
By the time, going back to what I said earlier, by the time that rolls around, we'll just shrug and accept it all.
Yeah,
not if we can help it.
Yeah,
just like the Rose Garden looking like fucking a shitty cafe in freaking.
To Michelle's point, hey, MAGA trolls, I assume some of you are on here because you love trolling.
They always are. They got nothing better to do.
Welcome.
Let me say this to you. I'm so glad you're here to hear this message.
Yep.
That ballroom that is being built, you don't think it's a taxpayer expense? It will be taxpayer expense. I know he's going to raise money for it, but let's be clear. It's also
and by the way, that should be audited, because you know that's going to be a whole scam to make.
But that ballroom,
let's be clear about this. That money that he's raising for the ballroom is not going to go there. It's going to go to a Trump super PAC or some kind of way to line Trump's pockets. The same way he cheated his people, which we put in our ad, which we will end again to show people again. We put in our ad about how he scammed $250 million out of his people for the legal defense fund for the bullshit election lie. Our tax dollars will pay for that
But
1,000%.
the point is that ballroom that he's building, you're not going to be invited.
Oh, no.
Ever.
You're not going to be
Never.
invited. It's supposed to fit almost 1,000 people. Those 1,000 people are going to be his rich crypto buddies who are putting money into his pocket, into his family's pocket. It is going to be Peter Thiel. It is going to be Curtis Yarvin. It is going to be Elon Musk.
Yep.
It is going to be people who you worship because you think they give a shit about you. They do not. They think
Correct.
you're good for biofuel. And that ballroom will be for them.
They'll
Not
let you clean it. They'll let you clean the ballroom. They'll let
Oh,
you
yeah,
clean
maybe.
the dishes and
Yeah,
be service
maybe.
to
They
them.
won't even let
But
you
guess
get a
what? You're
mile
not
up.
getting an invite.
No,
You're
no,
not getting an invite.
And you're not getting to fly on that $1 billion airplane either, friends.
Yeah,
the one that we are also 100% paying for. And,
That
and
is
his
correct.
minions and taint lickers in Congress just said he could keep.
Yep.
He gets
Yep.
to keep it.
And I think that that is a perfect way to end our show today as I eat my fig. By the way, we have a fig tree and it's giving us figs. And I'm excited.
I
It's
love
like our
figs.
first figs. And so I'm excited about this. But anyway, we're going to end the show on that note. We're going to show Cheater one more time because it puts an exclamation point on this entire conversation that we just had for the last 20 minutes because this is what's happening. He's coming to cheat us. And as I said, not if we can help it.
Yep.
It's up to us, folks, all of us. And thank you to the almost 11,000 people who have joined us this morning. Thank you so much. And let's go out there and keep building that resistance because we don't want to be the generation that loses democracy.
Yep.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Donald Trump is a cheater.
He cheats.
He cheats at golf.
He cheats like a mafia accountant.
He cheats on his wives.
On every wife he ever had.
He tries to cheat elections.
11,780 votes.
He cheats working people.
Small business people say they were stiff.
He cheats his supporters.
He scammed to line his pockets.
Guess who he's cheating next? Look in the mirror. It's you.